Okay, today's video, we're going to talk about how to build PPC campaigns for anything. That's time sensitive. It's going to be good for a good certain amount of time that you're trying to push all this ticket sales, registrations you're trying to get, and then it's gone. Presumably, you're in a business that this is a regular part of your business, meaning that you have one of those, and then you have something right after it that's going to come, and you have a residual, reoccurring event, class, whatever, as I mentioned here on the title of the video. If you're running a school, you're running a football, local football franchise, you're selling concert tickets, you're selling event tickets, whatever, you're selling, courses, local in-person courses, whatever. It's all the same. I've done campaigns in several of these areas already, and I thought to run a video here that would explain how to do it, basically because the formula is pretty much the same for all of them. They all have that time-sensitive element in there, in which I was basically, after looking it over, doing it kind of basically the same way all across the board. Now, obviously, if your business is in, some unique area here, it's going to be a little bit different than what you would do for the others. I'm not claiming it's really a truly one-size-fit-all, but 80% of it's the same. Use this 80%, you're almost for sure guaranteed to make money, and then you can add your own little customization to it to make even more. That's what I try to go for in my videos, that you have something to at least start out that you can get to profitability quickly, and then you can tack on more results, dialing it in for your specific business and the terms you have, because you're the only one that's going to be able to do that for yourself, or somebody's going to have to study your campaigns personally. So with all that said, I'll get you started here. This is a system that makes a lot of money for the people that I've done this and set this up for in the past. Respectively, it's been running for years, and we just repeat the same things over and over again. So if you follow these things, like I said, you should be able to make money not only quickly, but presumably for years and years and years. It's a system that you can keep, a revolving system that you can keep using. You'll keep making money from it without having to sweat once you understand the first time how it's set up, and then it'll be set up pretty much the same way all other times. So what I see people all the time doing to make PPC work in these kind of fields, not just when they're trying to run ads on Google, but all on other PPC networks in total, like Facebook, it could be LinkedIn, whatever, depending on what they have, are using a lazy one-size-fits-all approach that in the end is easy to manage for them, but provides really crappy results as a result of it by the default way that they set it up. Now this is just common for everybody. All niches, everybody wants to try to outsource their problem of creating these PPC results to somebody, but they don't. So it's too much trouble for them, but then they try to outsource it to somebody, but they don't want to pay a lot, and so they get screwed anyway. To get good, there's 20% of people in any market that makes most 80% of the money, because they are the ones who set it up right. They think about what their users want, and they give them that. If you do that, you're going to be the one who makes the money, all the money. You got to be able to do it better than the other lazy people in your space you see are basically doing it. You should be able to look at it and say you've got the best campaign or the best couple within the best couple campaigns, or you shouldn't expect to make a whole lot of money after the cost of what you do, delivery of the service or product, the ad spend, all of it. We're talking about, a game of inches here in all reality. And so, anyway, they hire the agency, the PPC agency. The PPC agency is getting paid a little bit of money, so they're saying, okay, well, we can't do very much. So what can we do that looks like it's a lot, but in reality takes very little time? And a lot of these agencies get by because the client doesn't end up knowing what they want, and they want to pay a little bit and just have it work anyway. They don't want to hear that it's going to be complicated. So they go ahead and they set up this lazy man's campaign for doing this, which is trying to basically push everybody who's going to be buying a ticket, a registration of an event, in one strategy that'll work for all of the different events that they have going at any given time, and for all the events that they're going to have forever, basically. Each event, class, course that you basically are promoting has to be promoted separately if you're going to get guaranteed results, as I'm claiming here. And respectively, if you just hand this off to your PPC person, you say, do it, they're not incentivized to do it. Why would they work hard when you don't have not even defined, let's just say, what they should be doing? If you go to the PPC person you have with this strategy in mind, tell them to do it, at least at the base level, this is what you want done. You should be able to make money. And from there, you at least are going to not, we'll just say, probably make it in that top 20% it makes money by default because you understand at a base level what needs to be done and works. I've done campaigns, like I said, for all of these different spaces before and make them work pretty much the same strategy. Now, to be more specific, I've done a trade school, promoting classes at a trade school in a bunch of different medical fields. We, basically, like a CNA course, somebody wants to be a CNA, what do? They search for, CNA program in Miami area. And then you want them to be able to find your preset, pre-designated, customized campaign to convert somebody who's searching for that program at that time, which is the key part that people miss, to get them and create as greased of a funnel or chute as you can to get them registered as possible. And for every class, you have to create a funnel. It doesn't have to be, here's the key thing is that people miss. They think it's going to take a lot of time to set up a sales funnel for each course that they have if you're a school. But realistically, you've got to be able to save yourself time by doing a really, really good job on one, way overkill what you think to be able to be better than all your competition in terms of efficiency of getting a customer or client or whatever, and something that most people are going to prefer your funnel over your competitors. And then you got to be able to, once you've went so far overkill to where you got the top one, you use elements of that. So all the other ones, you don't have to start from scratch on, and it'll work there. So that's what we did obviously here, because that's what you basically, that's the magic formula to do this, or if you want to just call it that. And routinely we're getting over 1,000% ROI as a result of this. People looking for the course, we have a customized landing page. We tell them when the next course is going to start. What are the details of that course? What are images showing, like what are the classes like when you actually are inside that for that course? And when I say course, what I mean is program. So you don't have to do a PPC campaign for, CNA 101 or whatever, like the first course. You do it at the program level. So what you're trying to do is capture people who are looking to enter, if you're at college, right away, but you do it by program. So you have to have hundreds. If you have hundreds of different programs, you've got to have hundreds of funnels for this to work right. Sorry, you just do. And then you just make it for one, and then you stamp it out for all the others once you know the first one works and you've tested it. Don't make 100 and then hope they all work, because that's just idiotic. Respectively, if you do it well to where you show inside and out what it's going to be like taking that course, and what are you going to be able to learn, what are the income expectations, where is it physically located, i.e. how far you're going to have to drive every day, what are the times in which the course is. Think about, from the student's perspective, all the key information you need to know there, and make sure it's all in one solid landing page. Do it for each program you have. So 1,000% ROI is generally going to float anybody's boat. Respectively, when somebody's looking, so it's not, if you're a trade school in Miami, you're not going to be able to get people looking for CNA courses made in Miami. Some people will do that, and you'll target those people as well. Well, you're going to have CNA programs, or the most people will target that, researching for that, and you will also target those people. And with that, you have your ad pop up that says CNA programs in XYZ county, which is in the county that they're in, or they'll be so far that they'll drive, which in this case they'll drive about 45 miles maximum. And if they're in that 45-mile radius target area, which we know statistically from doing surveys/audits on the consumer base there, what's the farthest somebody will actually come to the school, our ad pops up saying when the registration cutoff date is, that we have this school, it's the best school in the area, here's why, click to learn more. You get to the page and you go through all the details there at the high level, what they want to know, and not just guessing, but going through and asking questions to the students in terms of what the information they need to know. And if you don't know, you go searching for reviews, you go talking to people who have to talk to the students on a regular basis before the salespeople, if you will, and you get that all that on the landing page. So that's geo-targeted here. If they're looking for a CNA course in my area, you obviously could target that keyword. But respectively, you get my point, where they're basically looking for any time that you're sure that they're looking for a program, or they might be looking for a program, you target everything. And then basically one keyword will work a little less than others. CNA program won't work as profitably as CNA programs in my area, but and you set up your campaign for manual bidding, you can if you have your conversion tracking set up to see how many people call or fill out the contact form for a request to talk to somebody, then through a little bit of more advanced math, figure out what you can pay to get a lead, if you will. You can adjust your bids on each keyword based upon its historical performance level of what it can do to deliver a call or form request at the cost you need it, from looking at how many calls turn into bookings, and respectively, if you want, how many people that you can handle, in which you may have a little bit higher standards there if you know that you book early the last time. So then of course, when it's booked, you have a system to shut it off. The landing page, the ads, all that, all change, update for the next cutoff date to promote the program, but with local information to the next the next semester that's coming up. So that'll be what you have to do. We did this in the sports space for a baseball team, selling tickets. Same thing, geo-targeted to a certain area. They're looking to go to a baseball game, regardless if it was our game, another local team's game, a professional team's game, whatever. Our ad would show up there on Google. And for each game, there would be an ad and landing page, which is based upon a template that worked from the last game. And we tested it heavily. Once you know the formula there, it works for every other game. And so, respectively, there's a game coming up this weekend. We have an ad that shows up live for a week with the relevant information for that upcoming game to get the user's attention. And that's what you want to do if you want these excellent results. In that situation, we had over a 1,200% ROI. Part of the ROI, it comes from the fact that not only are you going to get data on what works and doesn't work, and it's going to get naturally more profitable as you go anyway, but on top of that, you're going to get people that when they go to one baseball game, obviously, statistically, they're more likely to buy a ticket for a second game. And so you build up a customer list, if you will, and of that, 20% or so will go to a second game. So you now have a list which you could target directly on Google Display Network, saying when the next game is, which you should use your customer list in that exact way to bolster the ROI in your campaign more and more, hopefully or eventually to the point where if you're doing this in the sports arena, that eventually you've gotten a list of every single person that's going to possibly ever come to your games. You'll never actually get there. You just won't. But, that you've sold to 60-70% of all the people that mostly you'll ever buy, and then you can just push out display advertising, not Google search advertising, even though you won't ever completely cut off search advertising on Google, on Bing, to right away when the next game comes out, they know about it right away. And I know what you're thinking. You're saying, but Corey, can't you just send an email out to your past customers? People don't see email. It goes to spam. It goes to the promotions tab. There's all this stuff. The likelihood that even they see your email is low. They may see your email and not open it. They may see your email and open it, but they're busy and they get 10,000 emails. It's just like junk mail. Think about when you get junk mail in the mail, physical snail mail. What do? You get all the stupid mail, go to your trash can, you go junk, 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 junk. I mean, granted, if this is your number one and only hobby is going to baseball games, you may read those emails and that may work for some people. The average person isn't like that, and they're just going to click spam or, they don't give a crap. And respectively, these email clients, when you don't ever open, if you click delete, 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 eventually your emails, if they're not getting opened or read by enough people, the email clients are going to kick them out more. So maybe it works for some people, maybe it doesn't. And I don't ever say don't do email, but you'll get very little action compared to running the display network ads to the same exact people, because everybody's going to see your display ad. You get more than one crack at them. You can have the ad show up 100 times respectively over the course of that week coming up. And it literally costs a penny for the ad to show up one time for the person. So it costs $1 to have your ad show up 100 times for somebody who's bought a ticket before, in which they buy a ticket at, if you're comparing to the person who's clicking on your ad for the first time coming in at 3 times the rate, then you want to maximize your opportunities there. And the overall ROI from your next following games will keep getting better and better because of that. You get the general picture here. We had a crypto conference, so this goes for anybody who has a conference or to promote and sell. Generally, it's like the baseball games. You have a conference, and you always have another conference. If you're in the conference business, that's what obviously is going on. You do the same exact thing there. If somebody's looking for a conference, in a crypto conference, you're going to have that ad show for any other crypto conference, in this case, nationwide in the U.S., to where they see our ad for our crypto conference leading up to, upwards of about 9 to 12 months before that actual conference comes up. So they see our ad and hopefully click on it to register at our conference. Respectively, even if it's 10 months out, and most people, if you're in the conference business, know that most people don't buy their ticket to the very end, but they acknowledge it, then you have a nice fat remarketing list that you've gotten people's initial interest from the initial ad that was served way early, and then you could pound display remarketing ads at them essentially more and more as you get closer to the cutoff date, and get a bunch of more sales that way. So if you start early, know that it's not going to work right up front, but you're building up the remarketing list to really harvest at the end. It works great. And then obviously when the event's over, you have a huge list of people, of attendees now that you can use to remarket to that list, and you'll get a higher ROI when you combine the fact that you have a list of people who buy and people who you haven't talked to yet. Overall, that brings the overall ROI up. Respectively, in this particular situation, this person built up a following on LinkedIn in the crypto space, and that initial following, that list of people, was used to jumpstart also the PPC campaign. So if they were a subscriber, like a subscriber on LinkedIn, we were trying to send them emails. We were trying to, or get their email, of course, and we were trying to, once you get their email, you can use it to have display ads going out to them as well. So instead of just waiting, one way you could have done this was just going after people looking for other similar conferences, but along with it, if you want to, it worked amazingly well when you combine the fact that they've built up a following on LinkedIn, and all they did there was dump relevant articles and got conversation going on those articles related to the niche on LinkedIn. Once they built up a following of 1,000+ people, they could use that list of people to power a display campaign, which you want to call it remarketing, you can, and that got a whole bunch more registrations right there. Eventually, in that situation, you can not have to rely on Google so much at all, of people looking for another conference and then getting them interested in yours and hopefully switching over, or also just obviously people go to more than one conference every year. The following list is like the way to crush it, to where you could sell a conference out in a few days if once you get 10,000+ followers, because people that are interested in crypto know other people that are, and then just forward it, so on and so forth. So anyway, respectively, over 1,500% ROI in that case, doing it the way that I mentioned there. A little bit was helped with the following that person built up on LinkedIn, but it wasn't a huge following at the particular time. Right, it was a contract that's not going on anymore. I'm sure their ROI is much higher than it is now, but with just a very small following of a few, like 2,000-3,000 people already, we were getting that 1,500 plus from that crypto, doing registrations for a conference. So you get the idea. The general strategy stays the same regardless of which one of these you're in. To boil it all down, here's the general strategy you could follow to get these same kind of results for yourself. First, realize you need to have a campaign for every single event before starting. Like I already went through that. You know, if you're doing a conference, make an ad and a landing page for that conference. And if it's a conference, they should be able to book the ticket like right from the landing page. And if they don't, you know, okay, you remarket to them until they do. But once you come to the second conference, you have to update all the information. So all the information a person could want to know to buy a ticket has to be extinguished in that landing page. And the ad has to look totally relevant and done so every time. I think I made that point clear. 2, make an ad/landing page that focuses on the event exclusively. So respectively, so it's kind of basically the same thing as I said here. For one, every new event that you have that comes up, you'll update basically the whole campaign. And then on that particular new event, if you're going to have new speakers, obviously all that has to be reviewed. All the individual components of what's on that landing page all has to be customized. Because if they go to a landing page that doesn't have any good in-depth information from that event on it, your conversion rates aren't going to be as high. That goes for any of these. Baseball game, they want to know if it's going to be bat day. They want to know, get as much of that information on there as possible. The longer you keep them on the page reading, the more likely they'll buy the ticket. Same thing goes with this medical or just trade school in general. If you could tell me more about the teachers that I have and what their background is and what kind of equipment I'm going to be able to be working hands-on with, the more that you're going to get registrations, because most schools' landing pages, if you just look at even their sites, they might have a landing or a page on their site for the program in itself, but there's basically no information there. What they should be doing is like a 60-minute promotional video for every program they have. And obviously, they would have to update it all the time because the teachers change and the programs change. But who cares? I mean, obviously, if it's a small trade school, I understand they can't do it. But that's where at least having a dedicated landing page that updates all the time would be, would put you up at the top. If you're talking about a university or something like that, I'm going to do a decent-sized promo video that talks about the part of the campus in which you're going to be at most of the time. 3, target keywords related to people looking to buy generally. I talked about before, if you're for like the trade school, we're targeting people that type in like CNA program, or for the conference, marketing conference, or in that particular case, crypto conference. If they typed in crypto conference, our ad would show up. If they typed in a specific crypto conference that's coming up, which means that we had to constantly stay on top of which crypto conferences were coming up, and then take the keywords that represent those conferences and put them in our list of keywords in our campaign, so that our campaign would always have that fresh, most current list of people that would buy to trigger our ads. Respectively, I, by nature, always have a unique ad for every keyword we have. So if they type in XYZ crypto conference that was coming out, that's not ours, I'm going to say our conference is basically better, larger, more events, whatever, to get the highest click-through rate possible. So that's going to take a little bit more work. But if you think about it, if you're going to look for XYZ conference and you see another ad for another conference, I'm not going to give a crap about that other conference. I'm going to think what I click on to get to that landing page, even though that landing page was well thought through and detail-oriented, it's going to be some copy-paste bullcrap. If the ad actually says something on there that I'm going to get at that conference that I may not be getting at the one that I initially was typing in to go to, now you've piqued my interest enough to go to the landing page. And of course, if the landing page has detailed information so I can learn something, now you've got me. I might not even register for the first conference. At the very least, when it gets closer to the registration cutoff date and you remarket to me, I'll remember that. First impressions are everything, and then you got me after you've showed me ads over the course of a few months to keep reminding me and really pound it into my head that I should go. 4, say how many days left at all your ads. So on the search ads themselves, you can use a countdown timer ad that says there's 7 days before the cutoff date, 6 days, 5 days, and it'll go down automatically. The remarketing ads that chase people around after they've been to your landing page, if they haven't registered, which you can have it to where after they register, the ads shut off. If you don't know how to do that, it's relatively easy. But until they register, you have an ad that says, I would do a couple ads at the very least. One ad that always says, when it is, how many days until the event, and therefore what your cutoff and what the cutoff time to buy a ticket is. So, and then that sends them just to the original landing page that you took them to. The other secondary ad, if you have a conference, I'm going to have on there what the main pull for a conference is the speakers generally, if you have A-list speakers. And so I'm going to have another secondary ad that rotates out with that original ad for a conference that follows them around. The longer in which you have the remarketing running, the better it works. To a degree, you don't overwhelm them. So if you want the ads to show up for them for 100 times between the time that they initially get to your landing page and the cutoff date for the event, you could have the ad show up basically once a day for 100 days. And if you space it out like that, I've generally gotten the best results that way, because you're not going to get them. There's the banner blindness. It's about them ignoring the ads. So if you don't overwhelm them, you'll get the repetition, therefore the trust, without getting them to totally just ignore the ads outright because they've seen them so much. One day it sounds like a lot, but it's really not, considering people are online 4 or 5 hours a day. It's just they'll barely notice it the first time, and after they've seen it 15 times, they'll probably notice it and register it in their mind and really read it the first time once they've saw it the 15th time on their screen. In reality, this is how, more so realistically, how things work. So, but all the remarks, so you'll have one dedicated landing page for that event and Google search ad that gets them into your landing page for that event. All the remarketing ads are going to be all customized for that event that says how many days are left. If you use multiple remarketing ads, all of them should say how many days they have left to register and when the event is, because that always gets much greater pull. And but it's a big factor having the date frame in there, because it builds urgency and scarcity into the model in which you're doing. Oh crap, I only have so many days to do this, and if I don't do it now, I maybe forget, and I just won't do it at all, or I'll wait too long, therefore I should do it now. Versus if there's no date on it, there's no strong call for me to, there's no fear of missing out there. So you can get twice as much pull with an ad, whether it's the search ad, Google search ad that gets them to your landing page initially, or the remarketing ad, by having how many days are left and when they have to register by on there. If you put on there, as a secondary boost, how many tickets are left. There's only 40 tickets left. There's only 30 tickets left. And they physically see these ads. I saw it yesterday. There was 30. Now there's 25. Now there's 20. If you want to go ahead and do that, you'll get even better results. Results can get really good with doing that. Some people don't want to actually bother with that, but heck, it's not that much trouble you don't have to do it every day. But in that situation, my ads, if I have to manually update it, which you obviously do on banner ads for the most part, well, to keep this video simple, you do. Once a week, I'll just go in and update on the ad template how many tickets are left, when you have to buy by, and when the event is. So they can see, I have to buy by this date, and there's only 40 tickets left. Next time I see the ads, oh shit, now there's 30. Oh crap, there's only 22. And that right there lights a fire under people's butt and gets response. Otherwise, it's too easy to procrastinate. Procrastination leads to they never do it, they forget, they spend the money on date night, they spend the money on another conference, whatever. You want to pull forward the purchase using that as quick as you can before they spend the money or forget. Spend the money on something else or forget. 5, reuse the templates for the next event. I talked about that. So you spend a lot of time and effort for the one event to do it amazingly well, see your numbers, and know if you give that to somebody else and just say, do it for all other events just like this, and you can factor in the cost of what it costs to pay that person to do it, here's what your profit will be pretty much every single event. That's what your goal should be with all this. Respectively, you want as little to change event to event as possible. So there can be a lot of customization to your ads, like I said. Here's how many days are left. Here's how many tickets are left. This particular game that's coming up, it's going to be Bat Day, and we don't normally have Bat Day very often. You could put those, you could put placeholders for each one of those things, and just give the instructions to who you're handing this off to. Just make sure you update these once a week, and then the ads are very, very attractive and motivating with no work on your part. And the predicted results because they're not changing that much. If you got those elements in there, you're going to get the results. And so even let's just say a dummy can change those little individual elements. The design of the ad, the design of the landing page stays the same. The textual elements are the main thing that gets changed out. If you got those textual elements in there and it's actually updated, those results will be there. You can count on them. That's what end goal should be with all of this. As a last thing, so I talked about your profits on your campaign. So they'll be better and better because by keyword and what you're going to use to drive traffic in from Google search, could be Bing search ads as well. I would recommend doing both. Most markets, most things. Keyword by keyword, each keyword will have a different potential, and you'll get more data to a point which you have enough data where you can tell roughly what you should be spending per click on each keyword. But that'll also extend to times of the day, what you should be spending per click times of the day, days of the week, what zip code they're in or what state they're in. Also, what device they're on, are they male versus female, what age demographic are they from. All those different segments, which are called dimensions in Google Ads and Bing Ads, you can adjust a bid based upon looking at your data, what each one of those segments have produced above or below average, and then adjusting your bid, telling Google/Bing what you're willing to pay based upon how well it performs. And you can constantly shift budget away from what's producing below average to what's producing above average and walk the whole account performance up that way. So you get better results just from that if you go ahead and do it. And because most people are too lazy to do it, most of the people, when you adjust your ads, everybody else they're gobbling up all the cheap clicks, not knowing what the return is and throwing their money away. And then you're gobbling up the most productive parts of their ads, which they don't understand why their ad performance is going down. But on those search ads, I'm going to retarget. If somebody's been to my landing page already, I'm going to bid a little bit more, probably 40% more for most of you guys. And if they bought in the last event, I'm going to bid 100% more per click to get them when they see my search ad on Google or Bing again, because they're going to automatically produce better. And then for each market, those individual, what they call bid adjustments, will be custom tailored a little bit differently based upon what it actually does for you. But when you're talking about remarketing ads, I'm going to have my remarketing going to anybody who hits my landing page. But if they hit my landing page and they also bought one of my prior events or tickets or what have you, it's the same thing. I'm going to spend twice as much because I know you're 3 times more likely to buy. And that's going to get me a higher amount of sales and higher amount of ROI overall by setting things up so I can bid a different amount if they bought a ticket before versus they haven't yet, but they look like they're interested in, and they've gotten to my landing page, but they just haven't bought anything from me. And that can extend if they bought 2 tickets, so I should bid a little bit more. Instead of maybe plus 100% bid adjustment, plus 125. If they've bought 3 or more, I'm bidding perhaps 150, and it just keeps going. You can add all that extra layers of sophistication to your stuff. Obviously, the returns diminish a little bit when you get further and further out, but respectively, you absolutely do want to bid different, whether they bought before from you or not. you're going to get a lot more difference in your results that way. So respectively, I found event to event, just the fact that you've built up a little bit of a customer list the last time, the next event will be, the ROI will go up 20 to 50% like clockwork, because you've got a list of people who obviously, if your event wasn't crap, that trust you and are more likely to buy from you next time, even though they might not. Statistically, those people will buy more from you than somebody who got to your landing page but hasn't bought anything from you yet, like I said. And so if they go to your second event, you have a few new people who didn't buy the first time, so your overall list of customers you could target separately are bigger, and so your ROI for your third event will be even bigger than your second, and then it'll just keep going, and you'll go up and up and up to the point where you've gotten market saturation, which will be a while. So anyway, that's pretty much how I would do a campaign for concert, sports events, schools, conferences. You have it. I think I have everything covered here. I have a ton of other videos on this channel about other PPC money-making strategies. If you want to know more about making money with PPC, you should check some of my other videos out. I have a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog with step-by-step instructions on how to build campaigns that guarantee our clients' results. If you'd like to see how I do things here, you can also see things done there if you want that kind of information or in that kind of format. Apart from all that, if you have any questions or comments about anything that you're working on here that you think I should have covered and didn't, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment or question on this channel within a day or two personally. But apart from that, I thank you for checking out my video here. Hope you make a lot of money, and I'll see you on the next one.